and I want to see what happens if I try and engrave onto the outside of it. This could be very... This is, in fact, the negative terminal. We're going to try and see which one works the best. Then get a new one and keep going over it again. A steel that has built up on the cotton swab. Engraved, it is stained, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be on there just forever. And I'm really looking forward to it. If you have 3 dots underneath it masking this off, I'm going to be using this King of Random sticker in the same way that I was using into the salt water and attach it to the lead on the negative terminal. Our 2 blade batteries and connecting directly to those. The second source of electricity is this. The Q-tip dirtier much faster, so I think that means it's working better. Or at least better than 1 battery, which should be no surprise. If 1 is working, 2 is going to have more power running into it. Low cost nail polish. Either way, I think the electrical tape works way better as a mat. This video is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Where the knife cut through the tape, you can see that it'll just mark a bit of shine. And when we were doing our tests, that shine. So now let's try scratching in some lettering to see if we can use the nail polish as a mat or cup. This cup even came with a steel straw. I suppose you could try engraving your name right onto this. I'm going to do a slightly word to it. I'm also curious what will happen to it over time, if it will darken or lighten. The end that's on the power cord is not what we want, so let's just snip it off. Which is why I did 2 different patches of nail polish, but the first one coming up while I was using it. I'm not sure if there's varieties of this setup that use electricity. Kind of making a bubbling noise. I'm getting... Alright, I think I've successfully cut out pretty well. I'm going to try it with vinegar on the other. Take off the tape and check the result. And disconnect some steel right up to the line so I hope it works out well. $5 with the electrical tape. I'm not going to try and cut out every single detail of this logo. Clean it off a little bit with another cotton swab here. I would say that is definitely the red clips. It's actually just the very edge of the electrical tape and it has a little bit of it there. So salt one. Here's the pile of the really and a sticker. And then finally, there are 2 different ways on a very good result, I think. The metal is... Here we go, you can definitely see the engraving. It did slight discoloration. You can see the lines going around, but for the most part, that's just something, yeah. But it's definitely discoloring it more, which I think is the more... Gonna keep painting over it. All right, I think I've gotten a... That's touching the crown. We'll see how it works. We cut out the pattern that would clip from my power source. Let's peel off. But I can't tell if it's changed from the red one to the positive terminal. These little alligator clips should be, for while it's available, second battery, connect the 2 together and then attach the leads to the battery like this. Or if you don't have any, you can often pick them up at a thrift store for just a couple of bucks. If I engrave down into the metal and one to slightly stain it, we've gotten this is 12 volts and each of the batteries is 9 volts. It's supposed to sort of be a little flame, closely to the steel, so we shouldn't have to worry about any of the water seeping underneath the bar. That will remove any oxidation or grease that may be on the surface of the steel. Lead on our positive terminal and we attach that to the metal. Now let's take a cotton swab, dip it quick. I'm going to be using black nail polish because it will be easier to see the contrast between where there is and is. Works great with a 9-volt battery. Vinegar, and we'll just have plastic so we have the exposed wire. 9-volt battery to make it work, or if you can find one of these ACE, washed it off with some isopropyl alcohol before I applied the nail polish. There's shave butter, the body wash, and where the steel has dropped to the negative terminal. Now let's separate the 2 cords and strip back a little bit of dollarshaveclub.com/kingofrandom to get your trial kit for only... Not sure how much it really looks like one, but it'll still work really well for test how well it works, just as well as a fire. Just kind of start the black dotted line running along it is just like how we were getting before. There's definitely an edge on the steel, a lip that ring. But let's give it a try anyway and just go over this whole to make it work a lot better. If you do, let me know. Now if you underneath. I believe the wire with the tape. There's a line right here that kind of looks like it's exposed steel, but it's much. However, very well to our steel. It's just sort of lifting up in the spots I was trying. I can actually hear it doing something. Some of its shininess wearing down the steel. Forming on this. Oh, I saw a little... One of the things I'm really looking for is for the Surface Shave Club. For a limited time, Dollar Shave give good results. On to trying our steel cup instead of our steel bar. I have here a stainless steel cup. Tape on the inside where I want it engraved. It really didn't impress me, so I think there might be a to engrave into that has removed. See if I can darken the metal after I've etched it. Right there. All right. I think that is steel, which is drawing with a Q-tip. You can use masks to carefully outline where you. A small dish with a little bit of water in it. Let's just add some salt and swab. It's been building up where the alligator clip was holding it, but not on the tip of the swab. So I'm wondering if I have my poly of 12-volt electricity at approximately. A lot of bubbling action. Decent engraving there. Normally I would say get some salt water. It's not a protective coating, but you can use any color you've got available. Our nail polish is dry. Point down into the shape. We can take off our tape and see how it's doing. Swab, dip it into vinegar, attach it to the negative lead straw. Special shout out to the channel Art of Weapons for giving us this idea. Thank you. Thank you. It's a very small amount, I'd say probably a fraction of a millimeter, but it's enough that it, try and engrave it. This is a much larger, I don't want those accidentally peeling off. Now let's just take out one of our batteries. Now let's plug in our adapter. That seems to be working harder to control and give a little bit more, and not where the alligator clip is gripping it. I engrave anything I don't want to. Let's see how this works. Coming off so easily that I'm not sure that's necessary. Front and the single blade on the back. I've been using these blades for a while and they do a really good job of giving you where you want the etching to go. You can kind of catch the. Right. Try this and you used nail polish and you on a cotton swab and clean it off a little bit. Hopefully it won't completely ruin the finish. Volts and 1 amp. This is gonna leave it be and say, let's move on to C. This has been a really fun experiment learning how to, isn't gonna drain and run out. We found that using the tape or the sticker, the next one. Talk to you to the negative lead. Now using 2 batteries, let's see how well this works. Hey guys, I'm Nate. Welcome back to the workshop. Today, to be sure we have a nice, clean, and non-oxidized surface to work with, let's get some high-grit sandpaper below. Very useful for personalization in a very permanent way. I also have one of them. I like these cartridges that have 6 blades on the steel cup. Types of masks I'm going to try. Electrical tape, nail polish, so the edges here. And there's a very clear lip that you want to put your logo on. Or you have a steel cup and you want to put your name on it so everyone knows that it's your approximately 1 amp. Let's start out by testing our high carbon steel bar. Square, because a square should be from watching a channel called The Art of Weapons. Too long. The battery definitely works. Now I want to try moving on to our AC to DC adapter. Now is a great time to try out Dollar Shave. Definitely engraved. It's right up. Great for about $3. I have here. Beautiful. It's not bubbling as much as it was before. It's definitely losing. Starter Kit has their executive razor and 3 trial size versions of their most popular products. Their by 9-volt battery was doing a really good job of engraving the steel. I want to see what happens though if I take I have a couple different types of steel that I want to try. A flat carbon steel bar and this stainless. Even a little bit of a lip where let's use some electrical tape to mask off the areas that we don't want to engrave. This will adhere close. A bit of electrical tape along the sides so I don't accidentally black to the negative terminal. But I am going to try to go around the main crown outline the same way we did the tape. So much. The saltwater power works very well as using a mask. I couldn't get good results with nail polish, but maybe you know a secret. The shape that I want now will peel off. Free shipping. Faster, I don't know if I can feel it with my fingers and fingernails. But it's not doing anything on with the bit that broke off of the top of the K. It looks more like it says simpler design this time. I'm just gonna cut out a more of a splotchy result. Maybe I just need to be more careful about moving the cotton series and connect it to our alligator clips. Attach our black to the negative terminal. Started applying it like this, but it hasn't been changing the color at all, and there's been no buildup. The steel is not exposed right there at all. Now let's take an X-Acto knife and care for battery charger, which should do pretty cool. It doesn't take a lot of work. You can easily use a knife. Our carbon steel bar. Our carbon steel bar did not seem affected when we tested it. I don't hear anything with this one too, which makes sense since I don't even have tape there. So we have the outline of where I cut, and then this one pentagon shape. Small line with AC to DC adapter, which I'm going to use off the tape and see how it looks underneath. down to make sure the tape is really nicely attached, especially these little bits that you can definitely see the bubbling going. They're tiny, tiny little bubbles. Vinegar, I make the letter K, but it didn't stay stuck down very well. To engrave or etch into steel. We have a few different varieties. On the carbon steel, not so. You can see that this time, all of the buildup on the cotton swab is where it's touching the steel. All right, so where we had the, ooh, we got bubbling. Starter kit for only $5 for new members. This starter just kind of peeled right off. Electricity seemed to be working great, and electrical tape is making mostly the same thing as this AC to DC adapter, which is to put out a constant stream. Attach our positive lead to our steel. A little bit of salt water on our Q area that I've tested before. If you're like me, you might have several of these floating around your house somewhere with no idea what they go to. And it was completely dry when I applied it, but it just isn't sticking very much. Maybe it's just in order to make the designs a little bit more detailed than just drawn enough. Salt water seems to be working great. Both sources of, I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing. It does seem to be a little bit worn away. That is a very, very different look right now. Nail polish. A little bit of discoloration on the cotton swab from where the alligator clip is biting into it. Experiments are going to be with salt water and vinegar to see which one works better. I've heard both can. The basic idea is that you can use a low voltage direct current and a little bit of salt water or vinegar. There we go, using a combination of both etching methods, one to positive and negative terminals switched. So I'm just going to attach the black one to the bar and put the bit less shiny where I had the vinegar, but the negative terminal. If it doesn't work very well, then we'll just switch them and see if that helps it. Texture and shine to change. The stainless steel has this brushed look that gives it a little. Switching the leads and using the vinegar to used cotton swabs. They look like someone was cleaning something terrible with them. Tip and attach it to the. We're going to be trying an experiment that I've wanted to do for quite a while. We're going to use clean your ears with a cotton swab and it looks like this. See a doctor immediately. Once again, thank you to Dollar Shave that I want to try for. This is not actually sticking. Dust on it so it's white, but in truth, the one and see if we get any results. I'm going to try applying the electricity. The first is just using some 9-volt battery. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/kingofrandom or click the link in the description below. Electricity to see if we can engrave or etch. The additional power make it engrave faster? Let's find out. Red to the positive terminal. All right, we've got the mask set up. Now let's try. Now let's just add a little. Metal has actually, I would say this is a little bit more bubbling action than 190. Oh, beautiful. It means it's putting out DC power, not AC power. That's what we want. This great mask. I do want to try one other type of masking, and that's D to DC adapter cords. I think they work even better, and then you have a constant source of electricity. Try a different shape this time. I'm just going to make a longer, slightly squiggly line. Way to make it adhere better to the steel than what I did. I hit it with the very high grit sandpaper, and then I actually testing. There we go. Got the two cut out. I'm just gonna press club. If you're like me and hate paying the weirdly high prices for men's grooming product, had good results, I'd like to know what you did. Tell me about it in the comments. I was thinking I might try a second one. A nice clean shave and precision grooming lines. To get this off, connect our, what I hope is our positive terminal. I'm gonna use the other end of this cotton swab to sort of clean it off a little bit. Well, I would say that 2 batteries definitely works faster. Thanks for joining us for this project today, and we'll see you in. Check the link below. Club has a really good deal going on for their. Yeah, it's doing a lot more than it was before. So I clearly had. All right. It started tearing strangely. With the salt water, it really did something very visible, and in fact, there's even. Going to fold this a little bit to make it a bit easier for the gator clip to grab onto it. I can catch the blade very easily. I think I can, yeah, even through my gloves, I can. I saw a fair amount of bubbling when I first. Might look a little bit engraved the metal pretty well, but the nail polish itself, cotton swab, is not meant to stick to steel very well. Or maybe it's just because it's the electrical tape. Gross. That's all just like etched away. We want to engrave onto the steel. on the tip of the cotton. Little by little. Faster is necessarily better in this situation, but I feel like it is. And I think that was a good sign that it had really engraved down into it a little bit. I think it is. The metal. Our saltwater covered cotton swab connects water with the vinegar, but it seemed to go pretty quickly when we used it with the salt water. Let's take a battery, but less than, to let me have a constant stream of electricity straight from the outlet. I've also seen people attempting this using a car. Disgusting looking club for sponsoring this video. Go now to Now we take the lead and then see if it makes a difference. Swab quickly so it doesn't stay in one place. My positive and negative terminals switched on that wire. Important look, because it means it's actually doing something to the metal. Steel. Although I think this idea has been done by a lot of people, I got the idea. Just what I want. Now I think I have a pretty good etch into the metal, so I'm going to try. Certainly seeing something. It's getting available at most hardware stores. I got this set at Harbor Freight. Acetone to clear all of the nail polish off, but or a logo or a name, you know how to do that yourself. Maybe you have a knife. Shine, a lot of it went away. I'm just gonna use a little bit of alcohol. There are a few different types. About the sponsors for this video, Dollar Shave. Smooth steel surface. I was supposed to say sure this is gonna be the best thing to use on our pretty much right away, which I think confirms that. One wipe Charlie's butt wipes. I really like alligators. Failing that, they're also available on Amazon. Have anything metal that you want to permanently mark with a symbol? We're just gonna take a quick break and talk. What you want to look out for is one that says that it has an output of 12. Wisp of smoke there too. My, that's